Hello there guys, it's me Unstable Voltage. Welcome back to episode 15 of Stellaris. We've actually got a relatively decent sized fleet now. We did lose a couple of ships. We are building a few more in the hopes of building up to our force limit. We did take those amoebas out that were up here. And now we're sending a science ship out to go and have a little bit of a look. And see what we can find over here. See if we can find anything interesting. I'm not even sure now which planet it was. It was one of these ones, but there was something interesting there anyway. I'm running the game at speed 3, so we're constantly getting pop-ups. We are starving on Kier, which is unfortunate. We've got nobody working the food tile, which is probably part of the reason why. Let's go ahead here and build the gardens. Get the extra happiness as well. So people will enjoy that. There isn't really much else we can do here for food, but I guess we could go ahead and just build ourselves a hydroponics farm. Actually, no. Build the hydroponics farm there where there isn't already a resource. So build a hydroponics farm there. Already have a construction queue for that tile, which is fine. And clear that off, I suppose. Good. No, we don't want to be in your coalition. Okay, the fleet has arrived home. You want to get yourself back to Earth. Upgrade fleet to latest designs, yes. So what ships do we have now? This is our battle cruiser. It's looking good. Nice to get one of those. The Excelsior, and we've got the Poseidons, and I love how this thing's called the Enterprise. That's really not what the Enterprise ever looked like. There's our patrol frigates. Repairs are completed. Come on, Beta said. What are our chances of getting you in? Will happen eventually. Just try not to spend too many resources on doing it. These fleets need to merge. So let's go ahead and merge. We're still not over our limit. New ruler mandate. Prime Minister, right? Prime Minister's been elected. Yeah, just research that. We've got a science ship, which is where now? Guarantee revoked, Cardassians and Breen. Okay, so we are up here. You're working on... I thought you were working on that. No, that's the Sagan. That's the other one. What have... Did we actually check this? So, shielded planet. Now, that's very interesting to me. Unless this is part of a story. Because there was something similar to this in Voyager, I think. But we're not that far over the galaxy. What's it shielded and what is beneath it? That's what I want to know. This other science ship... Oh, you are over here, are you? You came all the way over here and I had nothing for you to do. Well, you just go back onto automatic exploration then. That's fine. New sciences to take care of.
Incoming transmission.
Orbital hydroponics, probably. And lots more notifications about random stuff that I can't really be bothered to deal with. Construction ship isn't doing anything. Fleet is a 6,000 strong fleet now, which is very good. And I guess you can just kind of go on... Well, you could put you on auto explore. You can't get to Cardassian space. Yeah, we'll just put everybody on automatic exploration. See what we can find. Making decent minerals. We'll probably hit the cap soon. Making decent energy credits as well. We've stopped building ships. We've got another 11 fleet capacity. A destroyer is exactly 11, so let's go ahead and get ourselves a destroyer. And then even with a full fleet, we're still making money. We could probably upgrade a few spaceports. So up to 169. Did we just lose one? Weren't we up to 170 a minute ago? I mean, you can go over your... oops. You can go over your fleet cap. There we go. It's gone back up to 170. It's a little bit weird. It's obviously some sort of rounding error. But yes, you can go over it. Oh, it's from population. That was probably the reason why. You can go over your fleet limit, but the more you go over it, the more costly your fleet maintenance gets. Pretty much the same way that in Europa Universalis 4 you can go over your force limit. So that is fine. Still got some unemployment. Yeah, there's quite a bit around actually. You could do with a power plant. You could probably do with Frontier Clinic. You could do with
Station
a...
complete.
What are some of these things?
Station complete.
Fortification, toughness, we don't really need. Get a school on that one, actually. Could have got the school there, really. Would have made more sense.
Research complete.
Station complete.
And let's go ahead and build the... let's build gardens there, because we can. And let's get that cleared. Try and do as best we can with our planets. Okay, Alien Visitor Center. Leader lifespan plus another 10 years. Not a bad thing. Engineering lab. Let's work on that. Yeah, so we've actually got a 7,000 cap. No, 7,500 energy credit cap now. 10,000 mineral cap. So we should be fine. There's 1,000 influence point caps. So don't need to worry too much about that. So the fleet is now 170 of 185. We can actually have an even bigger fleet. So let's go ahead and we get some more of these upgraded as well where we can. Let's go ahead and get ourselves... What do we have? Another 15. You're 19. You're 17. You're 11. And you're 4. So let's go that and that. That is 15. Come on, Beta Z houses. 106. 112. Let's do that one. I'm not too sure what you have to get the number up to for them to be able to join, though. That's the problem.
Incoming transmission.
Hopefully, we'll be able to get them in soon. I mean, we are still quite big as the Federation. It still says like the Andorian Empire and the Vulcan High Command, but we are the United Federation of Planets. It's very, very messy. We turn all the mess off. We can turn some of the icons off, but not all of them. It's still a bit messy. Now, how are the Romulans looking? If we go ahead and actually look at our relations with the Romulans... see, the Nausicans' power compared to us is pathetic. But if we go ahead and have a look at the Romulan Empire... Romulan Empire, they are superior to us. So their fleet power is superior. Their naval capacity is equivalent. So we've got about the same number of ships, but they've got better tech, and their ships are stronger than ours. So attacking them directly is probably not a good idea. The Ferengi and the Shalayak. There's an anomaly, which you can go ahead and research. So we are sort of working our way now over to the other side of the galaxy. The Borg Collective. The Borg have now appeared on the map. There's Unimatrix 1. Wonder how we've suddenly discovered the Borg. And the Borg are blobbing out. The Borg are certainly working their way out over here. There's a Toad asteroid. We don't have to worry too much about that. What's this like random little green bit in the middle there? Flaxian hegemony. Yes. Okay, well, we've got more research done. Planet fortification toughness. Plasma phaser. Starbase phaser array. That's probably useful. Let's go and work on that. Just getting random insults from people as well. So things are going relatively decently right now. What if there's someone that we could try and get in? Can we just directly try and get people in the Federation? This is what I want to know. Magnesite hull. Let's go for that. Right, okay, so we've got these guys here. What are you? This planet belongs to whom? We can communicate with you. Offer trade deal. Ask for association status. Ask to join coalition. Now I want you to join my coalition. I don't want to join yours. I'll try and invite people into the Federation. I'm guessing the only way to get people into the Federation is to do it through the event that pops up every 6 months. You have to be friendly with somebody and invite them in.
Long-range scan of planet complete.
We're definitely getting some lots of planetary scans. I'm not too sure what this weird circle is around there. I guess it's this weird planet. Why is this planet blue? Is this because this is technically Andora's capital, the Andorian Empire? Because this is Andoria. So this is their capital, even though they are part of the Federation, which is a little bit weird. So what about the Vulcans then? There's the Vulcans, isn't it? Eridani, that's the Vulcan capital. Yeah, there's Vulcan. So that's the reason why then. So they still have their own individual capitals. They've got their own individual fleets. And they're responsible for their own individual planets as well. There's another war declaration going on there. Cardassians and the Temarians, so that's not our problem. Treaty migration proposal, Bolians, Flaxians. Yeah, none of it really makes any difference to me. Right, let's try this one again. Welcome Betazoid houses to the United Federation of Planets. Finally! So the Betazoids are now a subject member under the United Federation of Planets. Where are the Betazoid worlds? Did we just gain more planets? We did not. Not even sure where they... Oh, they're there.
Incoming transmission.
So they're kind of buried in there. They're not very big, so it doesn't really help. Subject status changed yet. So we know that one. That's fine. Let's get rid of all of this rubbish. Oh, man. Stop with the pop-ups, please. This game has a lot of pop-ups. So we could potentially go and directly attack somebody and try and take them out. Try and forcefully bring them in. Like you guys, for example. So if we did declare war on you, we've got a lot of people on our side. And we could... liberate CBs, vassalize, make tributaries. We could, yeah, vassalize some of them, but always tricky. Again, not bothered about any of that. Let's get out of there.
Research complete.
We've got a strong fleet now, which is good. Another research done. Leader lifespan's increased. Biological weapons. Dangerous technology. Yeah, we probably want to avoid doing that. Let's go and work on that one. We don't want to be in your coalition. Go away. There was something that I just saw that I thought... Oh, yeah, that was it. Let's go ahead and see if we can upgrade the fleet again. No, we can't at the moment. We're as upgraded as we can be. That's fine. Got a fleet power of almost 7,000. Which is, you know, probably... It's telling us that that's still less than the Romulans. Which is not a good thing.
Research complete.
So, as I was saying, I do... Overall, I like this mod. Stellaris is a good game with a lot of potential, right? I'm talking about Vanilla Stellaris. Vanilla Stellaris is a good game with a lot of potential, but it still needs some work doing to it. The pacing's wrong. You've got a game that is attempting to be a hybrid between a 4X and a grand strategy, and in some areas it works, and in some areas it fails. And it very much fails in terms of the pacing. The start of the game is actually quite fun, where you're doing all of the exploration and the colonizing. But during the mid-game it gets quite boring, especially when you end up with a lot of neighbours like this that are all in big federations or coalitions. It's very, very difficult to actually declare a war on somebody that you're going to have any real chance of winning. And as a result, you do seem to end up in a bit of a political stalemate through quite a lot of the game. So I feel that that is something that does need addressing. Now, I actually love this New Horizons Star Trek mod, and I think the creators of it have done a fantastic job. You want us to go to war against who now? The Nausicans again. I'm going to vote no. It's dangerous. Begin Ascension talks with potential member worlds. There's nobody... Oh, these guys we could bring in. Sure, let's go and work on these guys with low intensity negotiations. So, yeah, as I was saying, I do really, really love this mod, and I think the guys that have made it have done a fantastic job. And if only we'd have had an official Star Trek game this good. That's all I've got to say there, you know. I've always maintained that games that are generally made, that are based on movies and based on TV series, are usually terrible, because they're usually cash grabs. They're either farmed out to some small little indie development studio with little to no experience who try and rush the project out in as small as time as possible just to cash in. So you end up with really, really terrible games. And that's what tends to happen with a lot of... movie tie-ins. Now, I know that's not always the developer's fault, because very often the movie is still being edited and things are being changed right until the last minute. The developers of the game often get a final cut of the movie or a final draft of the movie, maybe 8 or 12 weeks before the game's due to release, so they've got to rush to sort of get everything done. Science Officer Bill Luke has leveled up and gained the trait Paranoid. That's unfortunate for him.
Incoming transmission.
But all in all, we've hit our energy cap again.
Long-range scan
All in all, I
planet.
still think games that are based on
Research complete.
TV shows and movies mostly tend to suck. There have been a few good ones, don't get me wrong. There have been some movie-based games that have been very good. Games that are based on sort of TV or movie worlds, as in the actual universe, but not directly based on a particular show or a particular movie, they tend to be a lot better. So a good example for that would be something like Star Trek Online, because it's based on the Star Trek lore and the Star Trek world, but it isn't necessarily based directly on the... it isn't necessarily based directly on a particular movie or a particular show or a particular episode, and that works out in its favour. But yeah, a lot of other ones come along and they do really, really suck. There haven't been many good Star Trek games. If you discount Star Trek Online, and Star Trek Online is better now than it was when it originally came out, but it's still by no means perfect. But if you discount Star Trek Online, there's been okay. There was Elite Force and Elite Force 2. They were good. There was Bridge Commander and a couple of others, but probably about 70% of them have been terrible. Particularly the newer one, the Star Trek that was made on the first J.J. Abrams movie. That game was terrible. Really, really terrible. That was a cash grab, if ever I saw one. But this just proves, I mean, okay, you've already got the base game that was made by another company, but what a talented and dedicated group of modders can do with that game to turn it into a game that looks and feels Star Trek. If a developer released... Right, if Stellaris never existed and a developer had released this game as it is now, Star Trek New Horizons, a 4X/grand strategy based on Star Trek, and this was the result, I think it would be one of the best Star Trek games out there. It really does fit in with the theme. Unfortunately, the base game of Stellaris still has some issues that need working out, and of course the mod isn't finished, which is one of the things that's making me want to not really play it anymore until the mod has been redone, because it is getting constant updates. There are things that are constantly changing, and if I started a game from scratch, I'd do things differently to how I've already done them. I'd certainly take a different approach on things. So I think what I might do is actually put this series to bed now, because the last few videos I haven't really done anything. I've literally just been sitting here dismissing pop-ups and clicking buttons, and you know, it's difficult to go to war, and I need to get more practice in at Stellaris. I haven't played it for such a long time, so it's very... I'll quite happily say I don't really know what I'm doing. So, you know, I'd probably like to play through it a few more times. And I think it is one of those games where you do actually have to play through it a fair few times to really understand what's going on. And I'm not even talking about the New Horizons mod, I'm just talking directly about Stellaris, because I was exactly the same when I first played EU4. I probably put 50 hours into EU4 before I really understood most of the major mechanics. And of course, the problem with games like Stellaris and EU4 is that if you take 6 months out of them without playing, there's 2 or 3 major patches come along, and they often add and change a lot of the core gameplay mechanics. So you go back to it after a period of absence, and you've got no idea what's going on. And that's very much what I'm having here. I'm trying to relearn the stuff that I already knew when I first played Stellaris. I'm trying to learn all the new stuff that was added and changed in the official Paradox patches since I last played, and I'm trying to learn and understand all of the new stuff that's been added in the mod. So it does make it very, very difficult. So I think that is going to be the end of Stellar Trek for now. However, I do think that I will come back to it at some point in the future, because I definitely want to play more Stellaris. I definitely want to play more Star Trek New Horizons, and hopefully some people have seen these videos and really got a look at the amount of work that is going into this game. And if I do come in and sort of play again, we might even pick somebody else. The developers have said, although they're not at the moment, they are making the Borg a playable race. And they're also, like some of the minor races, for example, like the Trill. The Trill do exist in this mod. You can find their planet somewhere. Trill does exist. There's Trill, it's right there. So Trill does exist, but it's a minor race. You can't play as them. But they're looking at making more of these minor races into playable races. So there's definitely going to be more stuff added as time goes on. And I'm really, really looking forward to seeing that. But I've rambled on for more than long enough, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the game there. I will save my progress here in case I do decide to come back and do another video here and there and just cover the development of this mod a little bit more. But yes, Star Trek New Horizons, you can find it on the Steam Workshop. If you basically just go into Google or whatever and just type Star Trek New Horizons, and one of the first links that comes up will be the Steam Workshop link for it, and you can just subscribe to it and download it for Stellaris on Steam. They do have their own Discord as well. It's relatively easy to find the link for that. But yeah, you can join their Discord, actually talk to the developers. Been talking with them a little bit myself, not so actively over the last couple of weeks because I've been tied up with other things, but they're very, very receptive to feedback. They're very, very receptive to suggestions, and they really are going all out to make as good a Star Trek mod as they can for any game. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. I hope you have been enjoying Star Trek New Horizons for Stellaris, and I'll see you guys on the next video. So until then, goodbye for now.